Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to continue our AP review by examining some samples and survey methods, as well as experimental design. So that's going to be our focus for this week. This topic is definitely something that is eligible for the AP exam this year, since these are strictly FRQs. Statistics is a big part, or experimental design is a big part of statistics. So being able to understand why some designs may be better than others, or what can occur if you have a poorly designed experiment or survey, is vital to understanding statistics. So let's go ahead and dive into this question here. So, a local school board plans to conduct a survey of parents' opinions about year round schooling in elementary schools. The school board obtains a list of all families in the district with at least one child in an elementary school and sends the survey to a random sample of 500 of the families. The survey question is provided below. A proposal has been submitted that would require students in elementary schools to attend school on a year round basis. Do you support this proposal? Yes or no? The school board received responses from 98 of the families, with 76 of the responses indicating support for the school year-round schools. Based on this outcome, the local school board concludes that most of the families with at least one child in elementary school prefer year-round schooling. What is a possible consequence of non-response bias for interpreting the results of this survey? All right, so there's a lot going on here. So let's break down what we know. So they took a random sample of 500. That's a large enough sample. We know that that's an appropriate amount. But they only receive responses from 98 of those families. So that means 402 of the families did not respond. And so of the people that did respond, 76 of them said, yeah, sure, let's have year-round schooling. So, taking a look at this, the percent of response, let's just record this down. That's going to be, there were 98 people who actually responded. So this isn't the number of people who support or don't support it. This is just who actually responded. So 98 out of the 500 people. So that's a really small percentage. So let's actually just go ahead and calculate what that would be. So 98 divided by 500. So 19.6%. So that means that only approximately 20% of the people who were surveyed only responded. So that means that we definitely have some sort of bias going on here because of even this question saying, what's the consequence of this non-response bias? So as we know, non-response bias is a bias that occurs when people are unwilling or unable to participate in a survey. So here, 402 people did not respond. So we don't know their opinions on this matter. So we can just begin by saying, in this survey, only 19.6% of the sample responded to the question. This creates a non-response bias Did I spell that right? Yeah, okay. This creates a non-response bias that could lead to, and then this is the part that we need to determine. What is the consequence? What is this non-response bias leading to? So here, this creates a non-response bias that could lead to, let's say, they found 76 of the 98 supported attending the school. So really here, there's some sort of underrepresentation that's going on, or really some, I would say, there's underrepresentation, but they're really overestimating the number of people who actually want the school year to be year round. Because if I only have 98 responses, but 76 of those responses say, yes, I want year round schooling, those people are also probably ones who, maybe created this bill or whatever that they're trying to get passed, or they have strong feelings about it, so they're more inclined to respond, yes, let's go ahead and do year-round schooling. So we have some sort of overrepresentation going on of the people who actually want the school to go year-round. So this creates a non-response bias that could lead to, let's say, an overestimate of individuals who actually want year-round schooling. Okay, so then part B says, someone advised that the local school board to take an additional random sample of 500 families and to use the combined results to make their decision. Would this be a suitable solution to the issue raised in part A? Explain. Okay, so now we're upping our sample size to 1,000, but our original sample is still in place. So 402 people still did not respond to that sample. So logically thinking, if I add more participants to the sample, and even if all 500 of those people respond, well, again, I'm missing almost, not quite half, but almost half of my respondents, because then I would only have 598 out of 1,000. So that's still only half the people responding. So in reality, no, this wouldn't fix our issue. We're still missing those people. So we can say part B here, no, sampling 500 more people, or families rather, not people, would not solve the consequences of the non-response bias, since 402 families still have not responded. In the original sample. Sorry, it's getting a little cramped. Original sample. Okay, so part C here is saying, like, okay, well, if part B isn't going to work out, suggest a different follow-up step than part B that the school board should take to address the issue in part A. So how are we going to get the people, or this non-response bias to not occur? Well, the main issue, like we said in part B, was that we have 402 people who have not responded. So we need to get those people to respond, because adding more people to our sample isn't going to help. And who's to say that if we add 500 more people, like in Part B, that we are actually going to get 500 responses? You know, we had that issue in the original sample. So we need to figure out a way to get those 402 people to respond. So let's just go ahead and construct a response here that's centered around the idea of getting those individuals to respond. So let's just make sure we're answering this appropriately. Okay. So the issue in Part A is that we are missing 402 responses to the survey. Therefore, to eliminate this issue, we need to reach out to those 402 families, either by resending the survey or making follow-up phone calls. So the idea in Part C here is, and really you could suggest anything you wanted, just the idea is we need to make sure that we are getting those missing responses in any way possible. So whether, again, that's sending out the mailer again, or making phone calls, or even bringing them into the school to speak to them, whatever method you can think of to just get those people responding, because that's the issue here. So the key part here, again, is just making sure that you understand what a non-response bias is. So let's just actually just make sure that we're all on the same page for what this is. This is participants are unwilling or unable to respond. So whether that be to send back in the survey, they don't have a stamp to mail it back, or the resources, or maybe they don't speak the language that the survey was written in, or they just don't care either way. They don't care if it's year-round or not, so they're just unwilling to respond to the survey. So that's the whole issue here, and all of you, I'm sure, could tell that this was going to cause an issue because we had such a low percentage of response rate, and with these FRQs, you have a lot of leeway with what your response can be. But the biggest parts here for Part A is that there's only, let's just go ahead and highlight the really key pieces here. There's the only 19.6% of the people responded, and so this would create an overestimate of people who are actually who actually want the school to be year-round. So this overestimation here is saying that the number of people that they got to respond saying yes doesn't actually represent what the whole group thinks. Part B, the key part here is no, that's not really going to help because we still have 402 people missing, so we need the no, and 400 families have not responded. And then this part here is we're missing the 402, so you just need to suggest a way to get those people to respond. And that's basically the nut and bolts of this question. So you could suggest anything you wanted here in Part C, but you just need to make sure that you are getting those responses somehow. All right, so please make sure you have your notes written down for the exit ticket today, and join us for the Zoom call to get some CFUs and some practice on your own for this. All right, I'll see you all on Zoom. Have a great rest of your day.